Welcome to Decoding Our Lives, a place to ask questions, gain understanding, and find the missing pieces of your life. It's time to open your mind and discover the world from a new place and a whole new perspective. Now here are your hosts, the Saman Lady Cathy Silver and the Reverend Rob Lee. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Decoding Our Lives. I am one of your hosts, the Reverend Rob Lee, and to my left, maybe you're right, I don't know, okay, however you're looking at this, is the beautiful, the Saman Lady Cathy Silver. How are you, ma'am?
I'm wonderful. How are you today?
I am awesome. I am excited. We're going to do an interview today, and help me with the last name. I know you're more familiar with this gentleman than I am. Lynn, what's his name?
Everard.
Lynn Everard. And this is going to be fun because I had a session with Lynn myself. So I got that firsthand. I think you have too, haven't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what I was really excited. I had my son do it and it was a really fun thing. And it made sense to me, which is my how or my why. It makes sense.
So he is literally going to be talking to us about why, how, what, and what that means to each of us individually. So let's go ahead without any further ado. Let's get Lynn in here, okay? And let me see where we are, Lynn. And we are going to bring Lynn in. Here we go. Welcome, Lynn. All right, let's see. It's joining. We're waiting on technology to do its thing. Lynn, welcome to Decoding Our Lives. How are you, sir?
Well, thank you. You could have had a few more snacks in the waiting room, but that's okay.
Yeah, I got to work on that. I got to work on that. Virtual
I guess
snack.
that's my job.
Oh, is that your job? Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Lynn, let's get started. We were telling people you did a session with me yesterday. You did a but we haven't told anybody exactly what these sessions are about or what they do. What's the name of your company? Where are you at? How can people reach you? Let's talk about that real quick, right up front, okay? And get some of that where we're going, okay? Who are you? What do you do?
Sure. So my name is Lynn Everard, and I am a Y certified coach. You can find me at my website, lynneverard.com. And you can also email me at leverard@lynneverard.com. And the work that I do is actually twofold. So one is I help people discover their why. Now, your why is not your purpose, but your why actually is how you live out your purpose. And each person has an operating system, much like a computer has an operating system. And we call this the why operating system, which is composed of your why, your how, and your what. So your why is what gets you out of bed in the morning. It's the drive, it's the motivation that you have. The how is how you actually go about practicing your why, executing your why in the world. And then the what is the end result of the work that you do? What is the end result of the how? Another way that we sometimes say this is that you can count on me for this, because this is what I'll deliver in the end.
Okay. That's really cool. I know I told you, taking the test and all that, it doesn't take that long. It was really helpful, and it learned a lot about me. I want my wife to do this with you to kind of help us communicate better. Not that we have any problems communicating. She says, do it, I do it. It's one of those things. I ain't stupid, So it is, honeydew. Yep. Okay. Done. All right. It just makes for a lot better sleeping arrangements, but I want, because I feel like that would help us. Cathy, you've done this too, right?
I have. And I will tell you that my why was make sense. And all my life, even when my very first job, when my boss handed me something, I said, this doesn't make any sense. And the how for me is to simplify. So even when we talk about decoding our lives, we are talking about sometimes very complex subjects, simplifying them down to a way that people understand. And my what is to make a contribution. So I was really excited, and that's why I thought it was so fun, is because it is my operating system of how I look at life, and what gives me that passion behind what I do. And so for those people that I'm going to say are struggling, even with how the world, it doesn't make sense to them. I knew you were challenged, right? So in every step of the way, you have probably challenged the system, either of how you were raised, even with, coming from, I'm going to say, I don't know where you were from in Florida. I'm saying the backwoods of Florida to tarot with an attitude, how does that compute, right?
And you're right, because I challenge everything, and my wife will be like, geez, you even challenge my freaking sanity. So that, that's one of those things. So Lynn, how does knowing your why, what's the order? Why, how, what? Or is it how?
Yeah, the order is why, how, what. And it's kind of like an equation that your why is really your passion. It's what gets you out of bed in the morning. Your how is how you go about living your passion. And then your what is the end result that you deliver in the world. So it might, whatever that is for you, you're like for Cathy, her what is to contribute. So at the end of the day, once she's made sense of things and then she's simplified them, she's all about making a difference in the world and giving back.
Okay.
Right. And so when you understand the why and the how and the what that you have, then you have an equation, you have an operating system for your life. And most of us we all have this, but for most of us, it's been running in our subconscious. It's been running the way, most people buy a computer and it's all set up for them. And if you said, what's your operating system? They'd have no idea.
Right.
Right. But a computer can't run without an operating system. Just like we as people, we don't function without an operating system. And this is our operating system.
So this serves what I'm understanding and what I'm hearing you say, this serves twofold purpose. Once I understand my why, I can communicate things better to other people. And then I can understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay. But also once I understand, like Cathy and I are doing this thing now. So if we come up on something we're having problems disagreeing on, once I understand at the end of her day, what was your why, Cathy?
My why was make sense.
Okay, your why was make sense. Okay, so once I understand, you're just trying to make sense of it. Your biggest thing is make it make sense.
Yeah.
Then your
especially
what?
Especially with the chaos in the world, we're trying to make sense out of it. And then my how is to simplify it. So it's like bringing it to the easiest common denominator. Take all of the extras out of it and just give me the bottom line.
Okay. So the why was what again? I'm sorry.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Your how was
to simplify.
And your what is what? Makes sense?
No, it's to contribute.
Oh, to contribute. I thought we shared some. Lynn,
makes sense. So you have Rob, your how is make sense.
Right.
And Cathy's why is make sense.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the fact that you both have an element that you share creates a hidden compatibility. Gotcha. That you have, because whenever you might have a situation where you're not sure how to handle it, or you might think you disagree on something,
right?
You can both come back to make sense.
And say, that's what I'm saying. So it's going to help us communicate, particularly over a topic that we may disagree on when we're coming through the show. So this really opens up some I know it was enlightening for me of like, oh, okay, that's why, because I challenge everything. I'm not saying I don't want to do it, but why are we doing it? And one of the things I know when I was in business doing the call center crap and everything else, it helped people. I realized, understand, I'm asking you to do this task. Most people will accept it if they're on my wavelength, and I found out that's more wavelength, if they understand why I'm asking you to do it. Okay. And that always helped me succeed as a manager. Okay. Is making sure people understood the why part of it. You know, if you know why I'm asking you, then you won't challenge me as much.
Right.
You know?
And that's funny you say that, because if it doesn't make sense to me, I will challenge you.
Right. And that's where I'm at. So whenever they were rolling out a program, now we had over 1,500 employees, and at one point, probably 100 of those were mine. I had the largest group, and I supervised the supervisors. Okay. Whenever we were rolling out a new plan, all right, the boss would call me in first and roll the plan out. And then he'd pick up his stress ball and just lean back and watch me go off like an idiot, you know, for 5 minutes. And then he'd look at me and go, "Are you done?" "Yeah, I am, because I got to challenge it. Just tell me why are we doing this?" So it was challenge. I would always challenge him. And you know what? He liked it, because he knew if he could answer my questions, he could answer any other questions that were coming, because I was very intricate and down. Okay. But then once I got that understanding, I could go out and help other people implement it. Okay.
And you were on board with it. So it was easy because you wouldn't challenge him. Now, I got a question for Lynn, because it seems to me it's the lens of which we observe life. So do you have any really good examples that, even besides what we're talking about, that you could use to illustrate this on an even level that we haven't made sense out of?
Sure. So if we think about our why, you mentioned a lens. Our why is a filter, right? Our why is how we interact with our world. We all grow up differently, but we all, somewhere along the way, we picked up the why, which is, you know, okay, I'm here and there's all this stuff around me. There's people around me. Like, how am I going to navigate my way through this? Now, we're not actually having that as a conscious conversation with ourselves, but it is happening subconsciously. And so that why becomes, oh, okay, well, this is how I feel best about myself. So I'll share an example from me. My why is contribute, which means I want to make a difference in the world. I want to be able to help people live a better life. My how is to clarify. And clarify means going in and asking the questions, even the questions that other people are afraid to ask. And when I've got all that information from asking the questions and clarify, then my what is to simplify, because now I want to take complex processes and break them down into a set of simple steps. So the more time you between the time you took the assessment and now, the more things you'll pick up about your life. So for me, when I was in high school, I knew I wanted to help people. Originally, I wanted to be a pharmacist. Why did I want to be a pharmacist? Because I wanted to make a difference in the world. I wanted to help people. Everything in my life that I've done has always been about wanting to help people. And now so every why is a beautiful thing because it's how we operate in the world. But I do want to mention that with each why comes one or more challenges, because sometimes we are so passionate about our why that we only see things through our own filter, our own lens, you know, and if we're a hammer, we think everything is a nail, right? And so sometimes, for example, for me as contribute, one of my challenges is to not say yes to everything that's put in front of me, because I want to help the world. I want to make a difference. And so everything that shows up potentially is an opportunity. So what I've needed to learn is to say, okay, I could help in so many different ways, but I want to reserve my energy, my time, my strength for those things where I can make the biggest impact, right? And with my why, I want to make that the largest possible impact that I can make. And you know, for all of us, I think that is part of our the challenge that we have with the why is being able to do that. And you know, getting back to decoding our lives, you know, one of the things we say at the Why Institute is that knowing your why is the essential first step to getting to know ourselves. And before we can, we think about decoding ourselves, right? Like understanding the hidden codes that are there. And the decoding is great because this takes us back into the computer software again, right? Because if there is a bug, what do? Someone has to go in and decode it. And then we have to be able to solve it, right? In order for the computer to work properly. And so this is the same thing with I know the work that you do, Cathy, which is to really help people get at, what is the bug in the computer, which is kind of the same thing as what is the illness or disease that they're dealing with.
Right.
Right.
And as you know, so much of it operates in the subconscious. So if this helps us understand that tape that's running in the background, and we begin to, I'm going to say, reboot, rewrite, or upgrade, and then we begin to use either a different timeline or a better operating system because we've upgraded it or we've eliminated the virus or whatever. But, everything is vibration and frequency. And so, that is also part of the game, that this vibration and frequency of the how, the why, how, and the what, is attracting people to your, I'm going to say, the sphere of influence. And if you are not sure why why is challenge, and you run up against a brick wall every time, your boss obviously understood it with you, Rob. He didn't know that you were there to challenge the system, but he knew that you were going to bring up every bug in his idea, and he could smooth it out before rolling it out to the rest of the crew. And so he actually was appreciative of your role, but a lot of people aren't because of their insecurity or whatever operating system they have going on.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things I do, I want to take a moment and remind everybody the links to Lynn's site are coming up. They're right here. They're floating by. You'll see them go by periodically. All right. And Lynn, I want to ask you a question. So people can come to you and actually get this why figured out. Is that it? You help them through the process like you did me?
Yeah, absolutely. So the process starts with, I provide people with a link that they can go to the Y Institute website and they can take a test, an assessment. It takes 5 to 7 minutes, and that will give them their why. A copy of that information will also be emailed to me. And then the next step is we schedule a time for us to meet either on the phone or on Zoom. And I take them through the process of discovering their how and their what. And along the way, I also help them gain a better understanding of each of those, to gain a better understanding of their why, what the challenges are with their why, what the solutions to those challenges might be. And then one of the really fun things that everyone really loves is when we talk about the famous people that have their why.
Yeah.
And who do they share their why with? And then, as we go through the process and they discover their how and their what, the lights start going on in people and they have the aha moments. And I can't tell you how many people I've done this with, where when they get it all figured out, it's like, oh my God, that's me. This is how I've been living my entire life and I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I know you helped me, Cathy. Listen to some of the people for me, and the biggest one that hit home for me that were people with my same makeup, George Carlin. Okay, so damn, I'm there. Question everything, why, what makes sense, do some things like that. But some other interesting ones were Steve Jobs, Herb Kelleher from Southwest Airlines. There's some actresses in there or whatnot. But the George Carlin thing. And for those of you young farts, go look them up. Okay, watch them a little bit and you'll see where people like me came from. Okay, and how this challenging the status quo started. 60s, gotta love them. So literally that was good. Did Cathy, who were some of your people? Do you remember?